I was sitting in a quiet coffee shop in Denver watching the morning light filter through the windows when my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Benedict, I know you are here. We need to talk." The signature made my chest tighten. Marissa, my ex-wife, the woman I had vanished from 3 years ago without a single word. She had found me. After all this time, after everything I had done to disappear completely, she was still hunting me down. Before I tell you how I became a ghost in my own marriage, let me know where you are watching from. If you believe in protecting yourself instead of forgiving betrayal, hit that like button. And subscribe right now, because what I did next will show you that sometimes silence is the most powerful answer you can give. 6 years ago, I met Marissa at an art exhibition in Portland. I was 23, fresh out of design school, trying to make a name for myself as a freelance graphic designer. She walked up to me while I was staring at this abstract painting, something with chaotic splashes of red and blue. She said it reminded her of human relationships, messy but beautiful. I thought that was profound. We talked for 2 hours straight about contemporary art, about how people communicate through colors instead of words, about life and dreams. She was 25, confident, worked in advertising as a junior account manager. She had this laugh that made everyone around her smile. We started dating that same week. Our first date was at a small Italian restaurant tucked away in the Pearl District. She ordered carbonara, I got the mushroom risotto. We shared a bottle of wine and talked until the staff started stacking chairs on tables. That became our thing. Talking. We could talk about anything. Politics, movies, the meaning of existence, or just what we had for lunch. It all felt important when I was with her. The next 2 years were everything I thought love should be. We took long walks along the Columbia River at sunset, the sky turning orange and pink, while she told me about her childhood growing up in Salem. We cooked together on weekends. She made terrible pancakes, always burned on one side, but I ate them anyway and told her they were perfect. We watched horror movies and laughed at the fake blood and terrible acting. We traveled to small towns along the Oregon coast, discovering little coffee shops with eccentric owners who remembered our orders by the second visit. I thought I had found my person, the one who would understand me completely, who would stay. When I turned 25, I proposed to her at Cannon Beach. Nothing fancy, just the two of us, the ocean, and a simple ring I had saved up for months to buy. She cried and said yes. We got married 4 months later at a small farm outside the city. Only close friends and family, maybe 40 people total. Her vows were simple, but they hit me hard. She said, "You are the only person I need, the only one I will ever need." I believed her. I believed every word. Our first 2 years of marriage felt like an extension of our dating life, just with more commitment and shared bills. We rented a small apartment near downtown Portland, close enough to walk to the farmers market on Saturday mornings. I was doing well as a freelance designer, building a steady client base. Marissa was climbing the ladder at her advertising firm, getting promoted to senior account manager after just 18 months. We split everything 50-50, rent, groceries, dreams. We had this tradition. Every Friday was date night, no excuses, no cancellations. We would dress up, go somewhere new, pretend we were falling in love all over again. Sunday mornings were for cooking breakfast together, usually scrambled eggs and toast, sometimes waffles if we felt ambitious. She would call me during her lunch breaks just to say hi, to ask how my day was going. I did the same. We were a team. Then came year 3 of our marriage. I was 27. Marissa got promoted again, this time to project director. It was a big deal. More responsibility, better pay, longer hours. I was happy for her, proud even. She deserved it. She worked hard. But things started changing. Slowly at first. She began coming home later. 6 p.m. became 8 p.m., then 9 p.m. Weekends were no longer ours. She had client meetings, project deadlines, emergencies that could not wait. Date nights got canceled. Once, twice. Then it became the norm. I told myself this was just a phase. New position, new pressure. She would adjust and things would go back to normal. But they did not. She started talking less. When she did come home, she was glued to her phone, texting, scrolling, typing. When I asked her about her day, she would give me one-word answers. Fine, busy, exhausting. Then she would retreat to the bedroom or take a long shower. I tried to be understanding. I cooked dinner, cleaned the apartment, gave her space. I thought that was what a good husband did. Support without suffocating. A few months later, I noticed other changes. She cut her hair shorter, dyed it a lighter shade, started wearing clothes I had never seen before, tighter dresses, lower necklines. She said it was for work, professional appearance, client impressions, all that corporate talk. Then she put a password on her phone. We had never done that before. Our phones were always open, nothing to hide. When I asked about it, she laughed it off, said it was company policy for security reasons. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to trust her. So I did. But the physical distance grew too. She stopped touching me. No more random hugs in the kitchen. No more kisses, goodbye in the morning. Bedtime became separate. She would stay up late on her laptop, come to bed when I was already asleep. When I tried to initiate intimacy, she would push me away gently. Too tired, too stressed, not in the mood. I stopped trying after a while. It hurt too much to be rejected by the person who was supposed to want you. The night everything cracked open, I came home early. It was a Friday around 5 p.m. I had finished a project ahead of schedule and decided to surprise Marissa with takeout from her favorite Thai place. But she was not home. I called her. No answer. I texted. Nothing. An hour passed, 2 hours. At 8 p.m., I called again. This time she picked up. Her voice was loud, cheerful, almost breathless. Hey babe, sorry I'm in a client meeting, running late. I will be home around 10. In the background, I heard music. Not office music. Bar music. Loud bass people laughing. I asked where she was. She said, at a restaurant with clients. It is noisy here. Then she hung up. She came home at 9:30. Makeup smudged, smelling like whiskey and cigarette smoke, even though she did not smoke. I asked how the meeting went. She said it went great, that the client loved their pitch. I asked which restaurant. She paused for half a second, then named some upscale place downtown. I nodded, did not push, but something inside me shifted, a tiny crack of doubt. 2 weeks later, I made a decision. I told Marissa I had a client meeting in Seattle over the weekend, that I would be gone Friday night and all of Saturday. She seemed relieved, said she would use the time to catch up on work. That Friday, I did not go to Seattle. I rented a different car, parked it a block away from her office building, and waited. I felt disgusting doing it, like some paranoid husband from a bad movie. But I needed to know. She left her office at 6 p.m., but she was not alone. There was a man with her, tall, maybe 6 feet 2 inches, wearing a tailored navy suit. He had dark hair slicked back and a confident smile. They walked to the parking garage together, laughing about something. Too comfortable, too familiar. They got into his car, a black Audi. I followed them. They drove to a restaurant on the waterfront. Expensive. Candlelit tables, wine menus thicker than novels. They sat at a corner booth away from the crowd. I parked across the street, watched through the window. She was radiant, smiling in a way she had not smiled at me in over a year. He reached across the table, took her hand. She did not pull away. She squeezed back. They leaned in close, whispering, laughing. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might break through my ribs. After dinner, they walked to his car. I followed them again. They drove downtown, pulled into the valet parking of a luxury hotel, one of those places with floor-to-ceiling windows and a lobby that looks like an art gallery. They walked in together, checked in at the front desk. The clerk handed them a key card. They went straight to the elevators. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. 3 hours. I waited 3 hours. When she finally came out, it was past midnight. She was alone, fixing her hair, checking her phone. She called me. I did not pick up. She left a voicemail. Her voice was sweet, casual, fake. "Hey, honey, sorry I missed your call. I had to work late tonight. Pulling an all-nighter at the office. I will be home tomorrow morning. Love you." I listened to that message sitting in the dark, and I felt nauseous. Not because she had cheated, I already knew that, but because she lied so easily, like it was nothing. I drove home, walked into our apartment, sat in the dark living room until the sun came up. I did not cry, did not scream, did not break anything. I just sat there thinking. By the time morning light filled the room, I had made my decision. I was not going to confront her. I was not going to give her the chance to cry, to apologize, to beg for forgiveness. I was not going to listen to excuses about how it just happened, how she never meant to hurt me, how she would change, because none of that would matter. Trust, once shattered, cannot be glued back together. You can pretend, you can try, but the cracks remain, and I refused to live the rest of my life walking on broken glass. I decided to disappear completely, without a trace, without a word. It was the only way I could take control back, the only way I could leave with my dignity intact. Marissa came home that Saturday morning looking tired, makeup smeared. She asked how Seattle went. I told her it went great, that the client was happy. She smiled, relieved. She had no idea I'd been parked outside that hotel watching her betrayal unfold, and I was not going to tell her. Not yet. Not ever, if I could help it. The next 2 weeks were the hardest performance of my life. I acted normal. Smiled when I was supposed to smile, kissed her goodbye in the morning, asked about her day, all while planning my exit in complete silence. I became meticulous, methodical, cold in a way I did not know I could be. Step 1 was money. We had a joint account where we deposited most of our income. I went to the bank, withdrew exactly half, $32,000, my share. I closed my name off the account, opened a new one at a completely different bank across town, transferred all my freelance income into it, stopped depositing anything into the joint account. Marissa did not notice. She was too busy with her new life, her new man. Step 2 was finding a new place. I applied for remote positions with companies outside Oregon. Got an offer from a design agency in California that let me work from anywhere. I chose Denver. Far enough that she would never accidentally run into me. Close enough to mountains and fresh air, a new start. I found a small 1-bedroom apartment online. Paid 3 months up front, signed the lease digitally. Never stepped foot in Colorado until the day I left for good. Step 3 was erasing myself. I deleted my Facebook account, my Instagram, my LinkedIn, every digital footprint I could think of. I bought a new phone, a prepaid one with a new number. I switched my email to something generic she would never guess. I uninstalled every app that had location tracking. I told my family what was happening. My parents, my younger sister. They understood. They were furious at Marissa, supportive of me. I asked them not to tell her anything if she came looking. They promised. Step 4 was packing. I could not take much, just the essentials. Clothes, my laptop hard drives with all my work files, my passport, my birth certificate. I shipped most of it to Denver through a private courier service, not the postal system. Less trail that way. I sold my car privately, got cash, sold furniture I did not need. Kept only a backpack worth of things for the final day. Marissa noticed nothing. She was too distracted, coming home later and later. Some nights not coming home at all. Always with an excuse. Always with that same fake sweetness in her voice when she lied. I played along, told her I understood, told her I was proud of how hard she was working. She believed me. She wanted to believe me. because believing me meant she did not have to feel guilty. The day I left was a Monday. I woke up at 5 a.m. Marissa was still asleep next to me. I looked at her one last time. The woman I had loved so deeply it hurt. The woman I had planned a future with. The woman who had destroyed all of that without a second thought. I felt nothing. No love, no anger, no sadness, just emptiness. And that was when I knew I was ready to go. I got dressed quietly, grabbed my backpack from the closet where I had hidden it, left a single piece of paper on the kitchen table, no envelope. Just a note written in plain handwriting. I know I'm leaving. Do not try to find me. Divorce papers will come through a lawyer. That was it. No explanation, no accusations, no giving her the satisfaction of knowing how much she had hurt me. I walked out of that apartment at 5:30 a.m., got into a rental car I had picked up the night before while she was out with him, drove to the airport, caught a flight to Denver at 9 a.m., turned off my old phone mid-flight, removed the SIM card, snapped it in half, activated my new phone when I landed. By the time Marissa woke up and found my note, I was already in a different state, a different life. Unreachable, untraceable, gone. The first few months in Denver were strange, liberating, but lonely. I moved into my new apartment, a small place on the 3rd floor with a view of the Rockies in the distance. It was quiet, almost too quiet. No more footsteps of someone else in the hallway. No more sounds of another person existing alongside me. Just me, my laptop, and a blank slate. I threw myself into work. My new remote job kept me busy. Design projects for tech startups, branding for small businesses, website layouts. It was good work. Creative, challenging, well paid. I worked from home, kept my own hours, answered to no one. The freedom was intoxicating. I started waking up early, going for long walks in the nearby park. The air was crisper in Colorado, thinner. It made my lungs work harder, made me feel alive in a way I had forgotten. I learned to cook properly, not just scrambled eggs and toast, but real meals. Stir-fries, roasted vegetables, homemade pasta. Cooking became meditative, something I did for myself by myself. No one to impress, no one to criticize, just me and the rhythm of chopping, stirring, tasting. The loneliness hit hardest at night. That was when the silence became too loud, when I would lie in bed and think about what my life used to be. Not missing Marissa exactly, but missing the idea of not being alone, missing the routine of having someone to say goodnight to. I dealt with it by reading. I went through 20 books in 3 months. Fiction, mostly. Stories about people whose lives were more complicated than mine. It helped. Around month 4, I met Trevor. He lived 2 doors down, a software engineer who worked for a startup in Austin, but lived in Denver because he liked snowboarding. We ran into each other at the communal barbecue area one Saturday afternoon. He was grilling burgers, I was grilling chicken. We started talking about seasoning then, about work, then about life. He did not ask about my past, did not pry into why I had moved to Denver alone. He just existed in the present, and I appreciated that more than he would ever know. We became friends, the kind who grab beers on Friday nights and watch basketball games without needing to fill every silence with conversation. 6 months after I left Portland, the divorce papers came through. My lawyer handled everything remotely. Marissa signed without contesting. No alimony, no fighting over assets, just a clean split. I kept my business, my new life. She kept the apartment, the joint furniture, whatever was left of the lie we had lived. It was finalized by a judge I never met in a courtroom, I never stepped foot in. I was officially free. By the end of year 1, I had built something solid. My design studio was growing. I had steady clients, a reputation for good work and reliability. I had a routine, a community, a life that felt mine. I had not thought about Marissa in months, not in any meaningful way. She was a chapter I had closed and locked away. I had no bitterness, no lingering anger, just indifference, and that felt like the ultimate victory. Year 2 brought more growth. I expanded my studio, hired a virtual assistant to handle admin work, started taking on bigger projects, working with companies I used to dream about. My income doubled. I moved to a better apartment, one with 2 bedrooms, so I could have a dedicated office space. I bought actual furniture instead of secondhand stuff. I felt like an adult for the first time in my life. Stable, independent, whole. I also started dating again. Nothing serious at first. A few coffee dates here and there, dinners with women I met through mutual friends or dating apps. It felt awkward initially. I had been with Marissa for so long, I had forgotten how to talk to someone new, how to gauge interest, how to flirt. But I figured it out, slowly, one date at a time. I learned to be open without being vulnerable, to enjoy someone's company without planning a future. It was healthier that way. Then I met Samantha. It was at a local art gallery opening. I went alone just to clear my head after a stressful week. She was standing in front of a sculpture, this twisted metal thing that looked like chaos, frozen in time. I made a comment about how it reminded me of my morning commute in traffic. She laughed. We talked. She was a yoga instructor, 32 years old, loved hiking and terrible reality TV shows. She was grounded in a way I found calming. No drama, no games, just honesty and presence. We started seeing each other casually. No pressure, no labels. Just 2 people enjoying each other's time. It felt right, easy, safe. By year 3, I was genuinely happy. My business was thriving. I had friends' hobbies, a woman I cared about without the weight of desperation or fear. I had healed without even realizing it. Marissa was a distant memory, a name that no longer carried any power over me. I thought I was done with that chapter, completely and permanently done. Then my phone buzzed that morning in the coffee shop. The message sat on my screen like a ghost from a past life. Benedict, I know you are here. We need to talk. Marissa. I stared at it for a full minute, my coffee going cold in my hand. 3 years. 3 years of silence, of rebuilding, of becoming someone new. And she had found me. Part of me wanted to delete the message, block the number, pretend it never happened. But another part, the part that still remembered the man I used to be, needed to know how she had found me and why, after all this time, she was still looking. 2 days later, she showed up at my studio. I was working on a logo design when I heard the knock. I opened the door, and there she was, Marissa. But not the Marissa I remembered. She looked older, tired. Her hair was longer but dull, dark circles under her eyes that no makeup could fully hide. She had lost weight, but not in a healthy way. She looked fragile, broken, almost. Benedict, she said, her voice shaky. Can I come in? I stepped aside, let her enter. Did not offer her a seat, did not offer coffee. Just stood there waiting. She looked around the studio, taking in the space, the clean desk, the framed posters of my work on the walls, the view of the mountains through the window. You have done well for yourself, she said softly. What do you want, Marissa? She turned to face me and I saw tears forming in her eyes. I want to apologize. I want to explain. I want another chance. I crossed my arms, stayed silent. She started talking, fast, like she had rehearsed this speech 100 times. She told me about Dylan, the man from the hotel, how it had started as harmless flirting at work, how it escalated into something more, how she convinced herself it did not mean anything, that it was just excitement, a distraction from the stress of her job, how she never meant to hurt me, how she thought she could have both lives without consequence, how Dylan left her after 6 months, said he was never looking for anything serious, how she spent the next 2.5 years alone, regretting everything, realizing what she had lost. I hired investigators, she said, wiping her eyes. 3 different ones over the years. Spent tens of thousands of dollars trying to find you. You were so careful, Benedict. You erased yourself so completely. But then I found your website, your studio. I've been watching your work online for months, trying to build up the courage to reach out." She stepped closer. "I am sorry. I am so, so sorry. I was selfish and stupid, and I destroyed the best thing in my life. But I have changed. I have grown. I know what I did was unforgivable, but I am begging you. Please, give me one more chance. Let me prove that I can be the woman you fell in love with again." I listened to every word, did not interrupt, did not react. When she finished, I took a deep breath and looked her straight in the eyes. "Marissa," I said calmly, "I do not hate you, but I do not love you anymore either." She opened her mouth to speak, but I held up a hand. 3 years ago, I left because I did not want to hear apologies. I did not want explanations or second chances. I left because staying would have destroyed me. I left because I deserved better than being someone's backup plan. I left because I knew that once trust is broken, that deeply it cannot be fixed. You can tape it together, you can pretend, but the cracks remain forever. Her tears were falling freely now, but I kept going. I built a new life here, a good life. I am happy. I have work. I love friends who respect me and someone who values me. I do not need closure from you. I do not need your apology. I already forgave you a long time ago. Not because you deserved it, but because holding on to anger would have poisoned me. I chose peace over revenge. I chose myself over you. "Benedict, please," she whispered. "I am asking you to leave," I said firmly. "And I am asking you not to contact me again. What we had is over. It has been over for 3 years. You need to accept that and move on." "I have." She stood there trembling, looking at me like I was a stranger. Maybe I was. The Benedict she knew, the one who would have done anything to make her happy, was gone. I had become someone stronger, someone who knew his worth. "I will always regret this," she said, her voice breaking. "That is your burden to carry," I replied. "Not mine, not anymore." She turned and walked toward the door, paused with her hand on the handle. "Did you ever really love me?" "I did," I said honestly, "more than I have ever loved anyone. But that version of me does not exist anymore. You killed him when you chose someone else. The man standing here now is someone different. Someone who learned that loving yourself is more important than loving someone who does not love you back." She left without another word. I watched through the window as she got into her rental car and drove away. I felt nothing. No sadness, no relief, no satisfaction. Just a quiet sense of finality, a door closing on something that should have been closed long ago. I sat back down at my desk, looked at the half-finished logo on my screen, and got back to work. That evening I called Samantha, told her what had happened. She listened without judgment, then asked if I was okay. I said I was, and I meant it. We made plans for dinner that weekend. Life continued, forward, not backward. That was the only direction I was interested in. Looking back now, I realized that disappearing was not about revenge. It was about survival. It was about refusing to let someone else write the ending to my story. Some people think silence is weakness, but I learned that walking away without a word is the strongest thing you can do. Because not every betrayal deserves your explanation. Not every apology deserves your forgiveness. And not every past deserves a place in your future. Marissa spent 3 years hunting me down, thinking that finding me would fix what she broke. But you cannot fix something that you shattered intentionally. You cannot unring a bell. You cannot uncheat on someone who gave you everything. All you can do is live with the consequences and hope that somewhere down the line you learn to be better for the next person. That was her journey now, not mine. I had already walked through fire and come out the other side. I had already learned what I was worth, and it was more than being someone's second choice. So if you are watching this and you have ever been betrayed, let me tell you something. You do not owe anyone a confrontation. You do not owe anyone closure. You do not owe anyone forgiveness just because they finally feel guilty. What you owe yourself is peace. And sometimes peace looks like walking away in complete silence and never looking back. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to walk away from someone who broke your trust? How did you find the strength to start over? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe, because I have more stories about choosing yourself over toxic situations. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it gives you the courage to protect your peace no matter what. Take care of yourselves out there, and remember, you deserve someone who chooses you every single time, not just when it is convenient.